been 35 years since the Kirtland cult killings, and it's divine will that Jeffrey Lundgren said drove him to murder. An excuse he used days after the killing of the Avery family and stuck to in the years behind bars.
We have now reached part 3 of our series called Bloodline and Blind Faith, Untold Stories of the Kirtland Cult Killings. Tonight, these are new interviews, and they show Lundgren twisted faith and played mind games with his followers to keep them divided. Here's 3 News Investigates' Peter Fleischer.
I had my own emotional struggles to make my flesh go through with the act. That was not some pleasant event, but it was the execution of judgment.
35 years after cult leader Jeff Lundgren killed the Avery family, his followers say they still carry the weight of those acts today.
It is, it's something that's difficult to put into words because it is an emotional thing. It's a soul thing.
Regret doesn't even begin to cover how I feel. However, I can't change it. I can't fix it. I can't make it go away.
The execution of inmate Lundgren has been completed.
When Jeff was executed in 2006, the murders were explained as blood atonement, a belief that the Averys wouldn't ever live up to God's standards.
Could the Averys have the opportunity to repent? Yes. Did they have the opportunity to repent? Yes. Would they repent? The answer is no.
In their first interviews since the murders, Damon Lundgren and Danny Kraft introduced accusations that we found no evidence to substantiate. But they say it was the way Jeff justified his acts to them behind closed doors in 1989. They claim they were told Dennis had abused young girls in his family and others in the group.
He had apparently touched her inappropriately, and that he did it with all of his daughters.
Jeff went, to my understanding, he went to Chief Yarborough, Chief of Police in Kirtland. Cheryl and the daughters would have to come forward and they would have to write statements, and they did not want to write any statements. They didn't want any charges brought up against Dennis.
That's when the two men say fellow follower and Jeff's cousin, Debbie Olivares, got involved.
Debbie, being a nurse, she could pick up on medical things.
Debbie was going to use the guise of doing a pelvic exam, I think is what they call it, to see if the children had been molested at all.
Do you remember any of that?
No, I wouldn't have known what to look for. That kind of stuff you're trained to do, but I wasn't trained to look for sexual abuse.
There's also no record of Jeff Lundgren reporting Dennis Avery to police, something the lead investigator into the Lundgren cult, Ron Andelsek, believes he would have known about.
I've never heard that before. It makes no sense, because if Avery's children were victims sexually, why were they killed? Doesn't make any sense.
Damon and I went back and forth about the topic for months. The final time we sat down, it seemed the facts available became too much to ignore.
Do you think your dad lied about Dennis Avery?
It's completely possible. I don't know. Over the years, I have had to come to accept that my dad lied his ass off. I believe now that there is the complete possibility that what was said to me is a lie, is that that did not happen.
Lies still lingering decades later. No act was too cruel to serve Jeff's control. And the self-proclaimed prophet forbid his followers from talking amongst themselves when he wasn't present.
Oh, no, because that was murmuring against God.
It made it nearly impossible to catch Jeff's lies before they grew.
I never went in there, and if you were in that room with Dad alone, you're the only one that knows what was said.
If Jeff manipulated the reality they knew and controlled the way they interacted with the world around them, where did their free will begin and end? It depends on who you ask.
Dad never conned anyone. These people chose to do it on purpose, and Dad gave them a path, and that was an easy one to follow.
I made conscious decisions, and I have reasons for them. And I told him I was not brainwashed.
I knew he had mind controlled me, and I didn't know how he did it, and I was terrified to be in the room with him. You know, when you hear it that often, and you can't question, it's like, well, I would have drank the Kool-Aid.
Okay, did anything happen that morning that you can recall?
Yes, sir.
As the group reeled, the next morning unfolded like a scene from a movie.
I think like 60 FBI agents and I think 6 of us. And we were each assigned a call member to interview.
Federal agents raided Lundgren's Kirtland farm just hours after the Averys were buried beneath the barn where they were killed. Authorities had no idea what lay below. They were there because of fears that the group was planning to take over the Kirtland temple.
There's 5 dead bodies right there. You're standing on top of them.
Somehow, the entire group stayed tight-lipped.
It was instantly, you're here for something else. So just shut up, sit, wait, let them reveal what they're here for.
No arrests were made. After agents left, the group packed what they could and disappeared into the wilderness.
Was it real or not? Were the conclusions that we came to real or not?
It was time to see if God was watching.
It's fascinating stuff. In tomorrow's part 4, Jeff Lundgren's final months as a free man. When belief faded, loyalty disappeared, and law enforcement held the self-proclaimed prophet accountable for the horrible secrets he thought he would never face. And don't forget, if you missed any of the segments, you can currently stream the full series right now on our WKYC Plus app.